They thought slapping her in front of 200 students would break her, humiliate her, silence her forever. But what she did next didn't just change her life. It shook the entire school to its core, flipped every power dynamic, exposed every hidden bully, and turned the quietest girl in the room into the one name nobody could ever forget. If you love stories where the victim rises higher than anyone ever expected, where karma hits deeper than revenge, and where the truth erupts louder than any slap, hit subscribe right now, because this story isn't just satisfying, it's a full emotional earthquake. She never wanted to be noticed, never wanted to stand out, never wanted to be the center of attention, but fate has a way of dragging even the quietest souls into the loudest moments, and for Emily Carter, that moment came on a Monday morning in the middle of the school gym where 200 students stood packed together for an assembly that no one cared about until the moment a hand sliced through the air and cracked against her cheek so loud it felt like the whole world gasped at once. And what made it worse wasn't just the pain, it was the laughter that followed, the way the bullies, led by the untouchable queen of the school, Vanessa Monroe, looked at her like she was nothing, like she was born to be stepped on, like she wasn't a person at all, just a target they could tear apart whenever they needed entertainment. And Emily could have cried, could have run, could have broken, because she already had enough reasons to collapse. She'd lost her dad last year, her mom was barely functioning, and she walked through life like a shadow, but instead of breaking, she did something no one expected. She blinked, breathed, and did absolutely nothing, not a scream, not a tear, just a calmness so unsettling it froze the crowd because silence isn't weakness when it comes from someone who has survived things louder than cruelty, and that silence spread like a strange, invisible force until even Vanessa felt it, a confusion she didn't understand, because bullies thrive on reactions, not on stillness, not on the kind of peace that says, "You can't touch who I really am." And while everyone thought Emily walked away in shame, what they didn't know was that the slap didn't just hit her skin, it awakened the strongest part of her. The part that remembered every time she'd stayed quiet when she should have spoken, every time she was made small so someone else could feel big, every time she accepted pain because she thought she deserved nothing else. And that night, instead of crying, she wrote a letter, not to the school, not to the principal, but to herself, promising that the next move she made would not be revenge, but truth, truth that would expose every lie this school protected, every silent victim who ate lunch in bathroom stalls, every name that never made it to the honor board because their mental health was being strangled by mockery. And the next day she didn't come to school with an army or a speech, she came with proof, screenshots, recordings, photos from months of silent observation, because while they mocked her, they forgot quiet people see everything, and she uploaded it all in a single anonymous file titled, "The Cost of Popularity," and sent it to every teacher, every parent, every student, every school board member. And by lunchtime, the hallways weren't filled with laughter, they were filled with shock, panic, eyes wide, mouths tight, reputations bleeding, because Vanessa and her crew hadn't just bullied Emily, they'd bullied dozens, driven one girl into therapy, another into transferring schools, another into self-harm, and the mask of perfection the school loved to display shattered into pieces no one could glue back again. But still, Emily said nothing, because she didn't want to be a hero, didn't want spotlight revenge, didn't want applause. All she ever wanted was for people to finally see the truth they kept pretending wasn't real. And when the principal begged the sender to come forward, she still stayed silent, because it was never about being thanked, it was about being free. And the world finally shifted, not because she fought back with fists, but because she fought back with the one thing bullies can't survive: exposure, accountability, and a mirror forced in their faces. And while Vanessa was suspended, while apologies were suddenly trending, while teachers held emotional meetings about mental health awareness, Emily walked through the halls not as a victim, not as a star, but as someone untouchable, not because she was feared, but because she finally understood her own value, a value no slap could erase. And when the truth was revealed that she was the anonymous sender, not by her but by another student who admired her courage, she still didn't boast, didn't brag, she simply said one sentence that stayed in the memory of everyone who heard it: "I didn't destroy anyone. I just stopped letting them destroy others." And that single sentence became the shift, the moment the school stopped glamorizing cruelty and started understanding strength isn't about being loud, it's about refusing to collapse under the weight of someone else's insecurity. And years later, at graduation, when Emily stood on the stage not as the most popular girl, not as the most admired girl, but as the most respected one, even Vanessa, now older, humbled, changed, walked up to her and whispered a thank you, not for exposing her, but for forcing her to confront who she really was, because the truth was, The slap didn't just change Emily's life, it changed everyone's, and that is what true power looks like, not revenge that destroys, but courage that transforms, not hate turned louder, but pain turned into purpose, and the girl who once walked silently through the halls became the proof that sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one with the loudest destiny.